What's up, everybody? I'm Ivan, and in this episode, we're going to be bringing you a new perspective on perfectionism. We're going to be talking about, who you would have become if you followed what society told you to do, right? And we're going to be talking about how you already have all the answers if you stop thinking. We're going to be talking about how to stop thinking, right? And how thinking is actually preventing you from winning in life, right? Because what happens is you go into procrastination and micromanagement.
What's up, guys? It's Zoom. In this episode, we're going to be talking about pride and the consequences of it. We're going to be talking about power versus force, hubris and hamartia, how to merge three-dimensional duality, and how humans learn powerful lessons from nature. Let's get it going.
Welcome to the Better Man Podcast with Ivan and Sumedh. This podcast is all about how to be an optimal, conscious male in today's society. Join Ivan and Sumedh as they go deep into the rabbit hole of personal growth, mindset, social dynamics, and spirituality. Are you ready to be a better man?
Everybody, welcome back to the Better Man Podcast.
With Ivan and Sumedh.
Yo, in this podcast, we're going to be talking about pride. We're going to be talking about
perfectionism.
About perfectionism. About just everything needing to be in the right place. And it's sort of feeling like it's not in the right place in that moment. Are you vibing with that, Slim? Are you vibing with that?
Yeah. For sure.
Yo,
it's actually, like different from
Soon said he wanted to talk about this, right? So like, what's going on with your life, man, where you feeling like you need to be perfect?
It's not that I feeling like I need to be perfect. It's like I'm starting to notice that little details matter, but then there's also like a limit, you know what I mean? So basically, like, we find ourselves messing up little small details, and that's not a good thing, because the small wins are costing you the bigger wins, right? However, at the same time, like, when we get into this specific, zoomed in on a specific flaw, or like get super micromanaging, then it starts to like deter our progress, if that makes sense.
Micromanaging your own life. It's like certain parts of your life should be on autopilot and others not.
Yeah.
You know, like, it's like, I don't know. Let me see. What would be on autopilot? Like, I don't know. Like, eating healthy. I guess that's a bit like on autopilot. You know what's healthy. You know what's not healthy.
Yeah. Like, I'm thinking of, like, you know, when you order food at a restaurant and a waiter gets it wrong, like, they're not paying attention to any detail. But when, let's say, they're bringing you the plate, and they're trying to micromanage how they're bringing it to you, they're gonna be like wobbly, like, you know, be like clumsy. They're gonna be too attached to the outcome.
Yeah, okay. I'm feeling you, dude. I'm feeling. You know why? Because there have been times when I used to play soccer a lot, right? And one time I switched teams, right? I was with this one team for like two years, right? It was very nice. I liked playing with them, right? But they were switching. They were doing this thing where, like, they were bringing in another club, because I used to play club soccer. They're bringing another club, and they were joining that club with that club that I was in, right? But this other one was cheaper, right? Because they didn't have to pay their coach, right? So it ended up paying less money. And it was really cool because so I moved to the other team, right, which was like mostly Mexicans. And the team that I was in at the moment was like one black guy, like one Chinese guy, and like a few other white guys, and then like me, Mexican guy. Well, it was a bit more diverse, right? But I went to the other one because it was cheaper, you know. Um, and and then one day, like as we're practicing, the coaches are like, "Yo, let's have a match," right? So the the teams that got together on a pitch and we played, right? So I'm playing my opposite team, my old team, right? And I'll tell you, dude, I scored. I think I scored twice, right? But that whole game was like my coach was looking at me like, "Yo, this guy's moving like crazy. You should have kept him on the team," because I was
Mm.
doing things without thinking,
Yeah,
right?
that's
Like I'm
flow.
telling you, dude, like it would be like two dudes coming at me, right? And I'd get the ball, spin, like go past them and shit, and like I was doing really good. And the thing is, I wasn't even thinking, right?
Yeah.
That's the part that really got me really confused at the time. I was like, I don't know, 15, 16, and I was like, man, I don't even know how I did that. I don't even know how I did that. I was so confused, right? And see, the thing is, when we're thinking about all the steps in between, we're thinking about all the steps, we go into like fucking like overly analytical. Like we become like a fucking AI computer trying to figure out what the fucking face expressions are. You know, we're trying to like we're creating like code. It's like we're trying to create every single frame of our movie, right?
Yeah.
Instead of just letting our movie play out and enjoying watching the movie, right? We're trying to create the whole movie frame by frame by frame by frame by second. And it's just not working out like that. It's just not working out. Just let go and let God.
Mm. Yeah, what you just described is the flow state. And what you're describing is like, the first phase of the struggle is like pushing forward. It's just like hustle, pushing, working. But after that, there's like a letting go and just like a surrender to the moment. That's the next phase. So I think what you experienced was a release phase, which got you into the flow. And that's why you were like, whoa, what just happened? You sort of like blacked out, but at the same moment, you were like in the zone, in the pocket, you were there.
Soccer, I've had so many out of body experiences.
Okay.
I've had experiences where I was looking at myself playing and like about to receive the ball. I was seeing the moment before the moment even happened, right? Because
Yeah.
actually, soccer is one of the most high vibrational sports out there because it involves you coordinating with 10 other people on the field. There's 11 people on the pitch. Pitch
Yeah.
and field, the same thing. So you have to coordinate with all these people, right, to get to a goal, right? And it's like very fun. Honestly, it's very very fun.
Yeah. And I bet there's also like on that team, there was an equal participation or there was a kind of like equal skill level that helped the team move forward. Because if there were like people on the team who were like really, really bad mixed with really, really experts, it would mess up the whole teamwork.
Yeah, they're kind of all like in the same place, within the
Yeah,
same range, perhaps. There's, of
exactly.
course,
Yeah.
I would say that they're not at the same skill level because like each
Hmm.
position requires a different skill. But it does
Yeah.
require you to play that skill at a high level,
Yeah.
right? And for you to play your own part. You know what I mean? Like every single component is so important. Like to make this coffee, this spoon I use the spoon to stir the coffee, right?
Yeah.
The spoon is an important component of me drinking the coffee and enjoying the coffee. What's another important component? The container. All it has to do is be a container. But if there's one small crack, well then it's not
Spill
even
out.
doing
Yeah.
its job anymore, right? So you have to even though it's like a simple thing that you have to do, you have to play that skill like
Hmm.
it's the most important thing ever.
Right. And that, I think that's a differentiation because it's more about that excellence and showing up rather than being perfect, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because this is like this cup is perfect for its utility. It has a function, right? But if it tries to be like a martini glass, it's not going to work. We'll be like, what the heck? Like, what is it trying to do, you know? So human beings, they kind of second guess themselves, like, am I a good person? But rhino just shows up in the jungle being a rhino, you know? It's just like, it's just there.
Mhm.
So I think we as humans have to tap back into our nature, which is the perfection, which overrides the perfectionism.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yo, it was crazy because you said you brought up your cup, and a lot of times we're already perfect as we are, right? But we're trying to be something else because we're literally not even able. We're comparing it to different things, right? Metrics. What are your metrics for success, right? So let's just say I'm a mug, right? I'm a mug. I'm just a simple mug, right? There's like white. I'm a white mug, but there's no cracks in me. I'm sturdy, right? And I don't burn, right? But the whole time I'm like, man, I wish I was like those cool mugs, like the ones that had like the cool designs on them. Man, that shit, I would feel more complete. Like that's perfect, right? What
That's
if I
taking
got
away
one of
from the
those?
moment, yeah.
Yeah, what if I was one of those mugs that was like a funny mug? You know what I mean? Like this, like it has like a
With a
joke
quote
on
on it.
it, or like it has like
Like a meme.
words at the bottom of the cup when you're done drinking. What if I was like one of those cups, right? And we're not seeing that we're perfect already as we are,
Yeah.
right? Because we're always comparing to different. What I like to tell people is, what are your metrics for success? What are you comparing? That it's like you're not successful because what why are you not successful? What are you comparing yourself to?
Right.
Right?
I'm reminded of this Eckhart Tolle quote where I'm paraphrasing, but he said, we live in a culture where we compare success to like all these external things, but we should just worry about having a successful present moment. Something along those lines.
Mm. Mm.
So a
That is
success
so
is
true.
actually a successful present moment.
That's so true. It's like what is success to Tony Robbins is not success to Eckhart Tolle.
Right.
Right. Yeah. So it's
Yeah.
just like, and a lot of times we end up following what the definition of success is based on our surroundings, not necessarily like on how we want to create a new world, rather the world, what's success like in the world that you live in now, right?
Yeah.
And I'll tell you why people feel like having a big house is very successful, because it has to do with safety. Home people feel like when they're inside their home that nothing can from the outside world can touch them, right? They have that
Yeah.
feeling of like, I'm protected from anything in the wilderness by my house, right? And that's
True.
that feeling of safety. So if you have a bigger home, right, there's more places to hide, there's more protection, there's more space where you could roam freely, right? So people, their metric of success is like a big house because I'll feel safer. But that safeness is more of an illusion, because the reality is, yeah, somebody can break into your house, somebody can smash your fucking windows, they can take a fucking tank and just fucking destroy your whole fucking house, right? So you are safe, but not as safe as the illusion makes you think.
Yeah. And a lot of the illusions are also like taught. Like since we're very young, we're taught about what is perfect and what is the standard. Like we still have we live in an age where we have cancel culture and political correctness and participation trophies. Like bro, like the the success is just showing up. We don't need a participation trophy to prove that. Because it actually makes the person feel worse that they have a participation trophy, because they're like, did I really win? Did I really deserve this?
Mm.
And I feel like people need to raise their own standard. And like you were saying, like, wait, I'm just gonna take this mic off because it's like echoing back to me. But yeah, so basically, like, what's that?
My sister got scared.
Yeah, so the thing about the participation trophy is, like, we need to use our own measuring kit, right? Not somebody else's ruler.
Get out of the hallway.
We can't use somebody else's measuring kit to measure our success, right? We need to be using our own measuring kit, our own standard. So if I use your ruler, if I use your ruler of success to measure my success, it's going to put me on a different kind of tangent. It's great to learn from
It's gonna repress you and suppress you.
Yeah.
And that's what's gonna happen. That's because you know what's gonna happen? You're gonna get stressed, right? Because you're not gonna be meeting that standard, right? So what's gonna be happening is you're getting the stress is the pressure of the suppressed and the repressed, right? That's what like that stress is, right? And then you just don't actually end up doing that thing even properly because you don't actually want to do that, right?
Yeah.
But you think, what do we say? I should do that. I should. And shoulds hurt you because anytime you say I should, you're saying I'm incomplete, I'm not doing it correct, I'm not enough, I am lacking within myself. I should is like saying like, it's causing guilt. It's basically causing guilt because you're not doing what you should be doing. You're like, I need to be doing that. I need to be doing that. I need to be doing that. Right? But do you need to do it? Like one time I was a lifeguard, right? And I'm guarding there's like a pit. You can call it a pit because it's like really deep. It's like 10 feet deep and people will dive there. And I'm just guarding this and there's one guy, he's leaving, he's going home. He's telling people about it. He's like, hey. He's leaving the guard room. And I'm like, where you going? He's like, I have to go to theater practice. Because he was still in high school. And I was like, you have to go to theater practice. He's like, yeah. And he's just like standing there, like, with his like, lifeguard uniform, white shirt, red shorts. And he's like, yeah, I have to. And I was like, there are no have tos in life. He's like, no, yeah, but I have to go to this. Otherwise, I get in trouble, right? Like still, even if you get in trouble, you don't have to do it. Like, there's consequences. There's consequences, right? It's just cause and effect, right? But like a lot of people don't realize that they can say no.
Yeah, or they don't recognize the gratitude to actually show up to rehearsal, right? It's like you get to do that. And I'm kind of reminded of the story. I did an internship with Theater Without Borders, and I went and sort of like did an empowerment theater exercise with this theater troupe. And they had this interesting activity, like act as society wants you to be. Like all the societal pressure and like the person you would have been if you listened to your parents, to society and everybody else. It's like act like that person. And everybody acted like such lame ass people, bro. I swear they were exaggerating. Like I acted like a nerdy Indian guy, like, like with an accent and like it was so funny. It was so funny. And then he said, act like your soul, or like act like who you really are. And everybody's vibe was so different. It was so authentic. It was so confident.
Keep going. I'll be right back.
And yeah, the whole energy just shifted within all of the actors. And it's interesting because all it took was just an explanation. It was just like the theater practitioner, Brent Blair, shout out to him because he ran this theater exercise. But basically, he was thinking of this idea of imago, which means like an image or a gesture that you create on stage. So like That's an imago, like a gesture of fear.
Okay,
So
so Soon just did like he threw his hands up in the air. He
yeah,
made his eyes wide open. He like
like
opened
a
his
shocked
mouth,
expression, right?
like a shocked expression.
And oh yeah, good point, because there's listeners, yeah. Um, but yeah, that theater exercise taught me like our body language, posturing, voice, the way we move around in the world determines how we place importance on our identities. You get what I mean?
Now, can you put it in different words?
Yeah, so like who does society want you to be, Ivan?
Who does society want me to be? They want me to be a contractor.
Mm,
They want me to
yeah,
work in construction.
right.
Literally, when I was telling people that I wasn't going to work construction no more, people were like, "But you're good at it."
Yeah.
What do you mean I suck, bro? I'm just like, I don't suck. Like, obviously, like I did my job for 6 months, right? Seemingly
Yeah.
without knowing anything about it, you know? So I just was using other people's minds to figure it out, to be honest. But I was like, but I just don't want. I'm not really that good, and I don't really want to get good at it either.
Yeah.
I don't want to get good at that. You don't
Right.
have to be good at everything, guys.
Right. And now notice Ivan's energy as he's talking about that. Now Ivan, who are you really? Like, who do you prefer to be? Like, who does your soul
Me,
like
I'm the fucking guy from 365 Days, Massimo, bitch. I'm gonna fuck your daughter.
You see the difference, guys? Guys, I just want you to realize this. The shift in vibration. So yeah, for me, the first one would be like a doctor. If I had listened to my parents, I would still be in school, like working right now and being miserable. But I didn't listen to that. I listened to my higher self, and like the person that I want to be now is expanding. If I had listened to them back then, I would never be living the dream life, or at least close to the dream life.
Mm-hmm. Totally, dude. Totally. I want to come back to this idea of pride. I want to cover this topic of pride. And a lot of us we don't recognize ourselves as prideful, right? Because like I personally don't recognize myself as prideful, but in the past week, I've just begin to see how prideful I really am, because pride is a very, very sneaky energy. Now,
Yeah.
like pride is a good place to be in comparison to fear and depression and anxiety, right?
Totally.
Because you have a lot more energy, right? But I was thinking to myself, like, pride's a good place to be, you know, like it's like, you know, you're chill, you're vibing, you have like Kanye energy. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean, yeah.
But then I thought, like, prideful people, what they really secretly want is admiration and validation, and for people to say, yeah, you're better than me. You're better than me. Right? That's what prideful people really, really want. They want others to say that they're so fucking amazing, and that I'm not anywhere close to where you are. You're amazing, right? You've accomplished a lot, right? Your accomplishments make you valuable. You see that? I was thinking to myself that I was valuable because of my accomplishments, and other people were less valuable than me for not attending university, traveling the world the way that I have, being able to just go to another fucking country whenever they want to, for not being able to have the experiences that I've had with at the level that I've had these experiences, that I know that these like the places that I've been, the people I've spoken to, the things that I've done are so radical and so different. Like, I mean, if Sum's been out there with me when we go out, and like my experience, the way we experience life is very different. And the world that I just fucking smacked my own head. The world that I attract is, you know, it's really nice. Like, I enjoy it. You know, I'm not gonna lie that I really enjoy it. But I was thinking to myself, I'm valuable because of my experiences. I'm valuable because of my skills. I'm valuable. And you know what? I have to acknowledge something, that it is true. I am valuable because I have skills. Like, if I go to a business and tell them, yeah, yo, I'm a fucking mindfulness coach, and I'll fucking, like, all you fucking workers, they're gonna be fucking like Einstein up in here. You know, they're gonna be like, oh shit, right? You know, that's a skill. I'm gonna pay you valuable money, right? So there's a difference between value to the market and value to God, right? God doesn't care that you have a Ferrari. God doesn't care that you have a very nice beard. God doesn't care how long your penis is. Doesn't care. I thought he did. God doesn't care that you slap your wife, you know? God doesn't. What the fuck, right? God doesn't care about these things. Like, it's not his place to really be caring about that. Like that's not, he doesn't see you as less valuable because you're angry. He doesn't see you as less valuable because you've done drugs or you drink alcohol. He doesn't see you as less valuable because you had kids before marriage. You know, he loves you whole and complete within his entirely, no matter what. Right?
Yeah,
that's a straight like fucking fact.
That's like a really good friend, bro. Like, as much as you mess up in life, like that grace that God has for you, you know what I mean? It's like, man, it's like you show up at the jury and the court and you do all this bad stuff and you're like, you know, but God's like, no, we'll give you another chance, bro. Like, that's God, you know what I mean? Like,
but you're still whole, and you're still whole, you know?
Yeah. That's great. So the idea of God perfection, right? That kind of unattainable, you know, almost energy, right? Compared to a perfection of what we think of as perfect. Like in the Renaissance, they had the idea of the Vitruvian man, right? Of like this perfect human specimen. And we can try and attribute and like go towards that, like that's a valuable endeavor. Like, you know, make yourself more beautiful, make yourself more aesthetic, you know, so more people respond to you, so you get more exposure. Like that intrinsic value, as you were talking about, in the external world is important, but also the internal, like the intrinsic value. Like, what happens, like when you travel, Ivan, right? You gain all these reference experiences, but then you also install bravery, like going to like a shady part of India or some shit, like, you know what I mean? Or you like install a feeling of independence, like traveling by yourself all alone, or you install the character trait of like, you know, being super valuable to people and like changing their lives, you know? So I think it's more important, like, what are the character traits that we download from having these experiences rather than the experiences themselves? Because yeah, they're temporary, but it's like, what do we choose to do?
What do we gather from the experience? Yeah, that's so true. Fuck. You know, and I love to travel, and primarily the reason I do it is because I know that I'm gonna be forced to become more confident. Yeah. Right? Like it's no fucking, you know, I'm not gonna show up to fucking China and be like, oh man, I'm lazy today. Like, no, you're not gonna be fucking lazy when you just got there and you have to eat and you have to find somewhere to put your stuff. You have to organize yourself. You have to find a structure here in this new world. You know what I mean? Yeah. You're not going to be like shy about talking to somebody when you're trying to get to your fucking train on time. You know, you're not going to, you're not going to be like, oh, I'm kind of like a picky eater when this is all the food there is to eat. So eat the fucking food, you know?
Yeah, totally. It's a good point. You're sort of like pushed to your limit in a sense. You like go straight into the stretch zone from comfort zone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You're exposed. You're naked. You're basically naked.
Yeah.
You have nothing on you. You have to gather fucking tools. It's like a video game where where you're naked and shit, and you have to go and like find clothes and like find food and find shelter and then after you find all that, then you got to go find friendship and find self-worth, and then you have to go find like a partner, and then you got to go find money to feed that partner. And
man. I'm thinking about this idea of pride and basically like thinking of like all these stories of like hubris. I think in the Greek they call it hamartia. Basically what it means is like, you know, the character's a downfall. Like every time, like, take, let's say, what was that movie with like Eazy-E, like Ice Cube? What was that movie?
I don't know, dude. I want to tell you something that popped into my head, but I want to hear what you have to say.
I think it's called something about Compton.
Straight Outta Compton?
Yeah, Straight Outta Compton, right. In that movie, like they rise, right? But then they have a certain downfall because of pride, and there's lots of movies like that where I've seen like the pride almost leads to the people's downfall.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the main differentiation and the factor there is they're not using power, they're using force in terms of David R. Hawkins' model.
Mm-hmm.
So people who are successful who come from that power, not like a hierarchy power, but like a personal power, like a flowing power, they tend to succeed more than the people who want to dominate and like get to the next level. And
oh my god, dude! Oh my fucking gosh, dude! I just pictured ourselves like flowers. You know, let's just say a flower, right? The flower doesn't ever say to itself, I don't want to grow today. I don't want to blossom today. I'm not going to be my best self today.
Yeah, or it's like, oh, look at the flower next to me. Look how much it's blooming. Like, you know, it's just growing.
It's just going to keep on growing. It's just going to keep on. If you pull it out, he doesn't even care. Doesn't even care, right? And the reason I speak about nature, right? A lot of people be like, but I'm not a flower, I'm an actual human, there's a difference. Yeah,
but I'm not a flower, guys.
Yeah, but you fucking did come from fucking earth. Everything that's made out, that your body's made out from, came from this earth. You're made from water, you're made from fucking dirt, you're made from the fucking sky, you're made from air, you're literally made from air. Right? That's your fucking atoms. You're made up of atoms, nothing but air. Right? You're made of fire. You're literally made of fire, guys. You're fucking made of fire. Like, that's not a fucking joke. That's like a real fucking fact.
Yeah, man, I love nature metaphors. Like the idea that humans became inspired by a bird, and like Flight, the Wright brothers, like they got, you know, inspired by a bird, and then now we have airplanes. Like that blows my mind.
That's true. We are inspired by nature everywhere. You know what's the most beautiful, the most attractive shape to humans?
Is it a rectangle?
Yeah, it's a rectangle.
It's a rectangle.
Yeah. Inspired fucking TVs. Inspired the rectangle, we use it everywhere. We use the rectangle everywhere.
Everywhere.
You know what I mean?
Even the screen is a rectangle.
Yeah, our phones are fucking rectangles. There's a lot of things that are fucking rectangles, dude.
Mm-hmm. Books
are fucking rectangles. Give me fucking phones.
Oh, by the way, my book is out. Shameless plug.
Which is it?
Next month.
Oh, dude, let me tell you something.
I mean, this month, technically.
I was signing up for this. So I want to become a sperm donor, right?
Really?
And because I think it pays well, and I think like I want to have a lot of kids, and I'm not gonna lie, I think I have very good DNA, like very fucking good DNA. So I want like
That's
I
awesome.
want to be like Genghis Khan and like put my seed out there, but at the same time,
Are you gonna
I
go every
don't want to
week or?
have too many kids. Like I personally don't want to have kids. So I'm gonna sell my sperm, and I'll
Do you
tell my
sell?
mom. Hmm?
Do you share responsibility? Like when
No,
they use your?
no. If they ever want to meet me, they can. Like the kids, like
Oh,
they grow
cool.
up and shit. Um,
That's lit.
and my mom was like, I needed my mom's help because I needed like some information about like her family because they want to know things like are they still alive and stuff like that because it just helps them make better decisions.
Right. Do they need genetic information and stuff?
Yeah, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And my mom was like, no, that's bad. That's terrible. She's like, what if like one day one of those kids ever tries to, they fall in love with one of your kids, with Pamela, right? She was like, what if they, and I was like, Mom, like, come on, like, what kind of fucking like Mexican TV show is this shit? Like, she's just gonna like, one of my children that I fucking was a sperm donor child for, it's gonna be born and like wanna like mate with one of my kids, one of my other kids, and they're gonna become like, they're gonna have like a retarded baby. Like come on, y'all, come on.
That's an interesting train of thought, though.
Bro, that's just like when your mom was like, I don't want to take risks in life. Like life is risky as it is, so why take more risks? And I was like, there seems to be like logic behind that. Like there's like logic behind that irrationality,
Yeah, totally. And I think that it's true for smart people too, because like their cognitive dissonance like hijacks their intelligence and sometimes, you know what I mean? Like their ideas or biases about the world, they have such a strong argument for it because they're super smart and they can't break out of the old paradigm.
Yeah, they find like things to make it. They find they're just gonna
justifications, rationalizations, excuses. Yeah, all this stuff.
That's what I've been saying that lately. Like a lot of times, people have irrational thoughts.
I saw that meme also.
What?
Irrational the pie.
Oh yeah, dude. The guy had a fucking pie on his face, and people be having
not this
irrational
pie,
thoughts. It sounded like I said
mathematical symbol.
Like got a pie, like a real pie. No, it was like the symbol pie on his face because he was making like a weird face. What I was gonna say, they'd be having irrational thoughts, and they're masked by rationality, and that's basically how most humans live. We live in that irrational place first, and then we live in the rational, right? So you might be like, you know what? I need to get some new sneakers. My old sneakers, they're not good for running anymore. And then you go to the fucking mall and you get yourself some like $200 shoes, and you're like, oh yeah, they're worth it because they're for running, right? But really, secretly, you're like, I look really good in these shoes. I look wealthy. I look like I'm taken care of. I look, like people are gonna see me,
Right. What does it symbolize?
Mm-hmm. And shit like that. Instead of getting a no-name brand shoe, you know what I mean? That probably would have done you the same. They got those shoes,
Yeah. So I've been thinking of this idea of how procrastination links to perfectionism. Have you ever felt this? Like you want it to be so perfect or so good that you avoid taking action on it. It's like not the right time, or like you need it to go just the way you want it.
Totally. Yeah, it's kind of like having so much pride that you're scared of failing. Remember that anytime you're scared to fail, it's because of pride, right?
Fearful of fear.
if you're in love, or if you're in joy, or if you're in creativity, you're not scared of failure, right? Only when you're in pride are you scared of failure, right? So
Yeah.
it's like, instead of going out and failing, right? Because I'm and prove, and if
Yeah.
I fail, it's gonna prove to myself that I'm not worthy of my goal. It's gonna prove to me that I'm a loser. It's gonna prove to me that I'm no good if I fail. It's gonna prove to my parents that they were right and that I was not gonna be able to become successful doing this, right?
Yes, I agree with you, but it's also like I won't get hurt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Like if I don't do anything, I won't go through the pain.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like this kind of safety of paralysis.
I'm not gonna risk losing.
Right.
Yeah. And that's why I say people are playing defensively and not playing life offensively. Like actually
Yeah.
going at it. Like this guy where I used to work, since like I joined, he was telling me that he was gonna open up his own company and do like repairs on the side and shit like that. And I was like, oh, cool, cool. And then like months later, I was like, yo, did you start? And he's like, oh no, man. I mean, I guess it's just kind of start when you have like a steady check coming in. And I was like, loser.
Bro, like I'm thinking about this idea, like offense, defense, right? We use those terms in sports. When somebody offends us, our natural instinct is to react defensively,
Mm-hmm.
right? And when we
Mm-hmm.
defend ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
then
No.
nah,
It's
I
not
can't.
that.
I can't make a correlation.
No, but the beginning part was really
Beginning part,
good.
yeah.
Yeah. When someone is offending us, we don't have to. Watch this though. When someone is playing in the offense and they intend to offend us, offend,
Mhm.
then we don't even have to play that game. We don't have to even be on the pitch. We don't
Right.
even have to. We don't have to play that game. So you don't even have to play defense. You don't have to defend yourself, right? You
Yeah,
don't.
exactly.
There's so many times where I was like, this person is not even capable of understanding what I'm trying to say. And in fact, by the looks of it, they don't even want to understand. So what would the point of if I need to just continue and argue with this person and try to convince them is coming from a place of pride and saying, oh, my reality is better than your reality, right?
Mhm.
And this is the same reason why I don't ever argue with people anymore. Like, do masks work? Do they not work? Do certain eating habits work? Does it not work? Like, I'm not here to is Trump a bad guy? Like, I'm not here to argue these stuff. Like, I'm not here to get stuck in duality in yes or no land. And I'm trying to be more in the fifth dimension of like just finding the silver lining, really finding the silver lining in everything, and not getting stuck in the third dimension like all people are getting stuck in these days. They're getting stuck in third dimension real quick is just like getting stuck in duality, up, down, left, right, good, bad, blue,
Yeah,
red, Democrat, Republican.
there's always a middle path and a combination frequency, both. So like for instance, we don't have to be like a tyrant dominant guy, like, crushing the day, CrossFit, smacking people in the face. But we don't have to be like, walking in the desert, kumbaya, my lord, like, that guy who like professes his love to the woman and like, bathes in exotic sea salt and like oil and like with like lotus flowers. We don't have to be those extreme poles. We can take the good things from both
Mm-hmm.
and come from a stronger frequency of the modern man.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what this podcast is about. Like, we're not being dualistic in nature. like we are accepting of this integrated master.
Mm-hmm. That's a good place. That's a good place to end today's episode.
Yeah. Do you want to speak a little bit? Like, I've just thought of this, but like about ego. Like, what is your opinion about this? Because in a lot of spiritual circles, they say, like, kill your ego. But like, you can't.
Ego is the thing that separates you from oneness, from seeing yourself
as I.
Yeah. Seeing yourself like looking at other people and being like, that's me. That's a part of me too. This tree, that tree's a part of me, right? Seeing how you are one with all and everything, right?
Yeah.
And like, let's just say if I have an argument with somebody, it's more like really having an argument with myself.
It's a projection.
Right?
Yeah.
It's like that conflict was happening inside of me, and it's now in my outside world as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't think too much about the ego.
Yeah, I think we've got to facilitate it though. Like, it's not the whole cake; it's just the cherry on top. So create a healthy persona, do your shadow work, and don't worry too much about it.
I was just saying that the ego's not even that big. Actually, it's not even that big. We think it's big, but it's not big compared to like your soul. You know,
your soul. Yeah. Awesome, good place to end, bro. Love you guys.
Peace out. Stay tuned for more. Tell your friends. Thanks for coming. Did I say tell your friends? Tell your friends.
Yeah, tell all of them.
Leave a review on Apple iTunes, or literally anywhere where you can leave a review for us. That would be fucking cool. Even if you go to YouTube and like you type in the comments and you're like, this is the best episode that I've ever done. That would be
also
cool.
Also, if you're an artist, like send us some fan art.
Dude, if you guys can draw, me, like that would be cool.
Word. You can draw us as cartoons.
Yeah, like inside of like a fucking like Illuminati sign or some shit.
Great. All right, peace out, guys.
All right, peace out.